Okay, now can everyone hear me? Because I am just a mess right now. So everyone in chat, can you hear me now? Hear me now? Hear me now? Oh, I need some sleep. I really do need some sleep. Welcome to Echoes Talk number 4. We're going to be talking about everything Corp's alliances, standings, and everything in between. We have special guest Sam Brigg, and can you pronounce your name, please? Because I am dog shit at it.
Dziga Forza.
See, like, would you get that from, I would say, Gika Forta, but that's just me being English and pretty shit. So I'd like to welcome you both. Oh, Doomsy was going to be here, but his fan exploded, so he can't make it this evening. And we're just trying to get Eisenhorn, our king of numbers, who should be in here as well. Welcome, Eisenhorn.
Good afternoon. I will attempt to play second fiddle to Doomsy as best I can.
That's all right. You're a man of numbers. That's exactly what we need. Right, so let's get right amongst it. Let's get a few of the things out of the way. Today wasn't going to 100% happen, mainly because I had obviously a baby yesterday, born at 7 minutes past 11 in the morning, a fat 4 kilograms / 9 pounds something. I don't know what the American equivalent of these weights are. And he's a big, long bastard with a massive nutsack, weirdly enough. And so basically, I haven't had any time to do anything right now. So we just jumped in, got as many people together as possible, given everyone 5 minutes to jump on the stream, and we're going to talk about everything Corps and Alliances. Eisenhorn is absolutely not my man crush. Nope, nuh-uh. And what the hell? Congrats, Sovereign. Oh, Crazy Swede's in the chat. He was supposed to be in here with us as well. So anyway, does everyone understand what the Corps and Alliances from the special guest? Do you guys understand what the Corps and Alliances are and how they're going to be played?
Mostly.
In theory.
In theory.
Like I know everything from EVE Online, and I know what they've talked about trying to implement from EVE for EVE Echoes, but we don't really know what they're going to actually do.
I haven't heard anything, not a single thing about taxes. Yeah, nothing.
Oh, we saw a 10% tax on a screenshot at one point.
But is it global, or is it just like EVE Online where it's only taxes from ratting, for example?
Yep, no idea.
I don't know how that's going to work. So for anyone that doesn't know about this in the chat, about the Corps and Alliances, the way that it is there's a 200 cap for max skills on a Corp. So there'll be 200 players in a Corp maximum after learning all the skills needed to get there. So basically, at the beginning of the game, there's going to be a mad rush for everyone to have a Corp CEO ult, which most of us, including myself, Sam, and Spool, hated the idea of, because now we it's so old school to have to start a character for the sole reason of being a CEO. So like myself, with my Corp, will have to have an Omega 2 character on the side. I'd basically have to pay €15, $15 a month, same as Sam, same as Spool, to start up our own Corps, like extra, apart from our main character. So it's just an extra cost, I guess, but that might be why they did it. What do you guys think about that? The fact that we're going to have, to be efficient, I should say, we don't have to have it, but to be efficient, we need to have a whole character dedicated to being the Corp CEO.
Well, I for one, if in my case I'm a pirate, I don't think we're gonna need ult. I mean, we're gonna jump corpses.
So you're just gonna run around, jump corpse, and kill people?
Probably gun for hire.
Sam, write his name down.
I think this is just a product of early game, first part of the universe.
Yes.
Later on, you're going to have people who have been playing the game as like a Corp member with the intention of starting a Corp months and months down the line, and they might train the skills in advance. We are all coming from a standpoint where no one has the skills, so we've got to have, why we want to play the game and start up our own actual gaming experience, we have to get this administration skilling out of the way as well at the same time. So I think it's just the fact that it's the start of the universe.
But what if, for instance, that, like EVE Online, you train up that Corp CEO ult, and you need to have Omega to get the skills required necessary, gets turned off when you lose Omega?
Well, in EVE Online, it actually didn't matter. Because once you had the skills and you had your position in Corp, your ult did not require it. It didn't change it. If you lost your status, your Corp would not just suddenly get cut in half.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never been like a CEO that's needed enough skills to have that many people, so I'm not too sure on the EVE Online side of things.
Well,
Yeah, I was going to.
I got Hazen.
No, I was just going to say I'd be very surprised if that was one of the skills that NetEase locked you out of if you dropped Omega to Omega from Omega 201 to Alpha, because that doesn't just affect your play, that affects the play of up to 199 other people. So that would be one that maybe they might not lock you out of. I would have thought anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I did, as Nina said, I did think that there was a way that losing going to alpha status should lose it, but only if you pressed update, if you clicked an update, manually clicked update on the Corp. If you didn't click update on the Corp, then it wouldn't matter. I didn't know that was actually a thing.
Well, they might change that. I mean, we know NetEase. I don't have anything against them, but I know them for some of the games that they made. And a lot of people complained about milling and milking and other stuff. And we might see exactly what I think Arshorn mentioned about actually needing to have Omega in order to maintain the Corp. Otherwise, I don't think it'll get disbanded, but
Yeah.
They might throw him some notices and like 1 month later ejected.
That's my main worry. And also, like, the biggest worry I have for Corps at the start of this game, because of the limit, the limit is so small. Say if you have a Corp like Trimark, you have Corps like Legacy and many of the different Corps in the Opposing Force Alliance, you have the Russian Corps, the Chinese Corps, they've got thousands of players. There's going to be, at any one time, so even if you started up 10 Corps, that's only 500 players. Right from the start of the game. So there's going to be people in your community that's left in the wind. So like you could potentially lose some of your player base because you can't actually invite them at the beginning. How do you think this is going to affect, say, Trimark, for instance, Sam?
It won't. Basically, we're going to treat it as though it was like in beta, because at the start of the game, we won't have any Corps. Remember, it's 200 million-ish just to start it from the beginning. We're not going to have that for at least like a week, maybe 2, and that's for the first Corp. It's going to take us 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get 5 Corps up and running.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our community on Discord. We have our communication externally from the game, which, by the way, even when we've got all these Corps set up, is still going to stay in place because you've got 5 separate Corps and all the people who are in those Corps. Well, Corp chat doesn't actually mean anything because it's 1/5 of Corp chat that you're actually talking to at this point. So in-game talking really doesn't do anything. Okay. So we're going to maintain all of our external communication through Discord and leave that as the main venue. So our players really aren't going to notice anything except for, well, their ticker on their character, and that's it. Yeah, and it means that until we can house everyone properly, we won't be going to a place where it matters, such as Nullsec.
Okay. I just, before we jump on and move to the next part, I just want to welcome Captain Benzie. He's just jumped in with us for today's thing. Everyone welcome Captain Benzie. Thank you for coming.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So now we have. So how are you feeling on the 50 startup like the Corp cap at the start and 200 being the maximum for your community, Benzie?
Okay, so for me, honestly, 50. I don't know. Look, I'm gonna talk briefly here about another mobile game, Command & Conquer Rivals, that I used to play that actually has a limit of 30. When we did that, when we first started that, 30 was more than enough to begin with, but very quickly became outdated. We had a lot of alliances between corporate, between alliances. Sorry, a lot of group ups between them. So I kind of see that happening, but the top cap of 200. Honestly, it's a mobile game. You don't want huge, unwieldy organizations, surely. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, that could be the case. And I apologize for the typing coming through. I was just getting, while he was talking, it's clack, 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 clack. I need a new keyboard. And I also need a mute button.
Don't worry, your keyboard is clearly more important than my opinion.
Oh, no, trust me, this keyboard thinks it's more important than life itself. It is a horrible, horrible bastard keyboard. Right, so yeah, I completely agree. I feel that the caps are actually put in place for for the actual game to be able to run well. I feel like they're hiding the fact that the game won't be able to run on large scale without the caps. Everything is limited. Fleets are limited, corps are limited, the amount of stations you can drop in systems are limited. I feel like they just can't run the game properly. Full.
No, but I don't think this is a problem of running the game on their side. It's about a problem of running the game on our devices.
On
That's
old
the main
devices.
Exactly.
Sure.
And
enough.
even if even if that is the case, I think at launch it certainly pays to be just a little bit on the cautious side, because the last thing they want is Jita 2.0 where everything breaks for Lord knows how long and people can't move, log in, play. It behooves them to maybe just play a little safe there and slowly eke those numbers up as that happens.
Sure enough, Kaysen just mentioned in the chat that 200 corp size is normal for mobile. It's a decent size. I haven't seen, excuse me, I haven't seen many games with corps, like guilds in general, on mobile, to be honest. Every game I've played on mobile, is there like big corp alliance?
200 is big, actually.
Yeah?
200 is big
Yeah,
for
I
other
agree.
games.
Yeah,
However,
200 is huge.
However, the main difference between EVE and other games is you don't start with a character and having 2 other alts on that account. So you're immediately saying, okay, cool, you're one person, but actually you should have 3 accounts. Oh, and this is EVE, so you should have 3 plus that. So like, you know, as one person, you could be 9 or even more iterations into the game as characters who play.
Okay.
So that's why we may have 300 people, but we'll have 1,000 tunes minimum to have to deal with.
That's going to be a nightmare.
Multiple personality disorder.
Trust me, like whoever gets Akira in their corp is fucked. Like whoever gets
make a corp for Akira.
Yeah, it's just leave them in the just make out like the Jove. Just go to the heaven part. Just go. Just stay there and don't come out. I can't even imagine how many. There's going to be an Akira in every single one of our corps. We have to just agree to admit that now. It's going to happen.
So we have to accept things like players with planetary resource alts. They're probably not going to be involved in the corp, or they're going to be in some other link somehow. Whether it's in a different corp or if it's in something else, we don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because in other games where you have, and 30 is what I'm kind of used to in terms of group size.
Mm-hmm.
Activity is one of the governing factors there. Not active, get booted. I'm sure Cap Benzie's got a lot more experience in mobile gaming guilds than I have, but it's a bit different with EVE Online, EVE Echoes, because we have those PR outs that aren't necessarily going to have a lot of activity on the account, but are going to be quite crucial in terms of our production lines.
100%. But realistically speaking, Sam and Eisenhorn both are part of Trimark Heavy Industries. You've changed it. It's just Trimark now, right? Because they screwed us, which is the next point that I'll bring up after this. They screwed us on the character limit. So realistically, how many corps will it take for you to house current numbers plus alts?
Between 6 and 10. And that's after 2 weeks of skilling each of those CEO alts,
Yep.
which will give us about 150 people per corp. It's 273 days to get it to perfect skilling at 200.
Holy shit nugget. So it's like literally going to take a year.
Yes, but just bear in mind that the last skill being, let me see if I can get this right, Outstanding Corporation Management 5 is
3 million.
20 million skill points on its own.
20 million? I thought it was 3. What was I looking at?
No, it's well, this is based on the calculations that we've got so far. I'm not entirely sure if it's accurate, but it should be. And it basically, the last skill is equivalent to about the same as all of the other skills before it combined. So chances are people aren't going to bother with that last skill.
It's true. Like that, unless like I may do, because I might be able to like trade that character for in-game ISK, depending if they have like the EVE Online character bazaar type thing. I might be able to say, for instance, in the future, if I don't have a community corp anymore, if I have some sort of scandal with a sex tape and I lose my following, like I won't have to use it. I'll be able to sell the account.
Out of disgust, we add.
Yeah, out of disgust. Who wants to? There's already. I'm sure Sam's seen the pictures of that people put my face on porn stars. That was not very nice.
There are just some things you cannot unsee.
Who
I have
wants to watch
deliberately
porn that's
stayed
out
away.
of Focus?
I don't know.
I got something for you.
Yeah,
I got something for you.
Go for it.
Would this mean that probably, and most likely, would this shift like the meta of how you organize your people and everything into granular options? Meaning like small, focalized corps of industry, of market, of, I don't know, elite fighters, of something like that.
But really, if that is the case, it has terrible consequences if that's the case.
The effort does not justify to take that to level 5 full skills just for extra 50.
There will be. There will be, unless someone like Sam with an endless deep, like Trimarch CEO alt pocket. For a lot of people who only have one corp, will pick and choose who is in that corp. There will be elitist mentalities because of this, I feel, generally, for those that can't open 10 corps for one corp.
I agree.
I think there's going to be a mix on that, in fact.
It could be. It could go either way, both or. But like for me in general, like I can imagine some of the more PvP oriented corps will start kicking casuals.
That's what I was going to come to next.
I just want to make one quick point.
Go for it.
Go for it.
With skilling in EVE Online, you make the most of your results in the first set of the skills. So you're going to get the most of your skills response out of like basic 1 to 5, advanced 1 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, expert and outstanding. You're only looking at 5-10% bonus overall. It's not really going to be a major thing.
It's true. It's true. That is a good point. I see it exactly the same. What were you going to say, Benzi?
I was just going to say, so I've run corporations, guilds, alliances, whatever they come under, clans.
Yeah.
In Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, Armajet, CNC Rivals, a couple of other games here and there. It is the Rivals one that I'm going to keep mentioning because this did become an issue for us. And those other ones, they're either PvP related or just weren't big enough to worry about. With Rivals, what a lot of us ended up doing was basically having an alliance of alliances. So you'd have, for example, Terminus Shores, which was one of the top alliances, then there'd be Terminus Shores 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. At the end of each season, whoever was at the top of Terminus Shores 5 and at the bottom of Terminus Shores 4 would swap places and so on, sort of to climb up and down. So for PvP related, absolutely I see that being a thing. For the big sort of pirate corporations, 100% I see multi-corping and sort of basically treating your different layers of corps as the different 50 parts of, like a leaderboard almost. However, beyond that, I kind of said it jokingly earlier, hashtag support small business. I see that being a genuine thing in Eve Echoes.
Yeah.
That you kind of alluded to it earlier, rather than having just a massive corporation of like 2,000 members, you have a 150 member mining division.
Yeah.
Then you have the security division, you have the industry division, you have the market division, and they all work together under an alliance. To me, it drives more alliance and less corporation functionality, which, considering the more intimate nature of mobile communities, to ratify that, what I mean is, like, if you've ever gone to BlizzCon and watched people break out their phones and sit and do a fireplace on Hearthstone, you get what I mean. Mobile, arguably, is more integrated than PC or any console when it comes to its player base. Arguably, the Switch would sit on that front, but there we go. That's Nintendo fanboyism, and we're not going to go down that one.
I thought I turned the I thought I turned the alerts off for the stream. I apologize for that going off right in the middle of your sentence. Thank you, Gamer, for the follow. So, like, we'll move on to the next point. I think we've spoken about the cat as much as like we can without going in circles about the cap with 50 and 200 players. Someone saying in here, does anyone in the chat have any questions regarding the cap of the corps before we move on? I see someone in here saying, compared to EO, where the corps can be as big as 500. In EO, I think the cap for a corp is 4,000. I might be wrong.
Yeah, it's a lot higher than 500.
4,000 is the general cap. Then you have the alliances which have a cap of corps, and then the amount of corps in alliance. But then you have like a coalition where it's like blue on blue, so it's that
Just anything goes.
It's an absolute infinite amount.
Yeah, but the coalition is already a meta game if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, but
I mean,
like,
people are sitting in Discord. It's not like they're actually.
And it's like with EVE Online, it's so over the top sometimes where I just think like it put me off ever playing in nullsec. Ever.
Why? Because you could have an alliance with 35,000 people.
It just, that's why I went in wormholes, man. Even the big wormhole corps only have 200 people and you can have a real fight.
And fun.
And fun, like it was just different. The politics wasn't there. If you didn't like someone being in that wormhole next to you, you fucking evicted them.
But do you know why wormholes had a smaller population? It's because you couldn't just send an infinite volume of ships through a gate, through a wormhole. You know, you literally had a connection cut if you sent through much through.
Well, you can send an infinite amount of frigates through.
Well, yeah, okay, but I mean, what are they really going to do?
Well,
anyway,
if you, like,
the point is, in nullsec, if you are not the bigger bear, a bigger bear will hit you. So you have to be able to gear up so that you are always the biggest bear if you want to hold onto your space. And so that's just the fact of nullsec. The way the mechanics have been built for EVE Online is that bigger numbers win bigger wars, and they beget bigger numbers.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The thing, though, by splitting up your corporations and your alliances and making them smaller, you kind of limit that being a thing. And again, I mentioned, I said it as a joke to support small businesses, but that's exactly what that does, because you can't have these huge, overwhelming, just the numbers win out. So perhaps that's kind of been designed maybe to give a bit more room for smaller corporations just to fill in the gaps, the sand around the pebbles.
That's going to be just a facade. I mean, it's clearly that people will band together and come together in a fleet, not actually being a fleet, but a blob of like 1,000. You'll definitely see that.
Yeah.
But they'll not be sitting in the same like chat, because nobody chats in EVE Echoes. Nobody uses that chat box. It's completely useless. Everybody sits either on TeamSpeak or Discord or whatever VoIP they have. That's going to be the thing.
That's very true as well. And I'm definitely... Go on, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say, am I wrong in that alliances are uncapped in numbers?
Alliances have no cap on the amount of corps, just a cost.
Yeah, but that's a running cost, right?
It's a monthly cost. You have to pay an ISK.
Yeah, so-
user?
Sorry.
Per user in the alliance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's per like, so it depends how many people, how many corps. Every corp will add more, and I don't know if it builds more the more corps you have, or if it's the same price for each corp. It's supposed to make having. The way he was saying it, I wasn't quite sure if he was saying that it exponentially grew the more corps you had, or if it was just a set price for each corp.
The latter seems logical, but
Depends if they're wanting to try and limit that big blue donut, doesn't it? Because if they're actively trying to steer away from that, the multiplicatively increasing costs would make sense. If it was just a set cost per corp, then functionally a corp's ability to generate ISK would mean that there was no real cap on that at all.
That is true, but at the end of the day, like it doesn't. When it comes to costs and ISK costs and how much it's going to cost a corp to do anything, it is never going to matter in a year's time when everyone's rich, especially the big corps. Like you'll be able to start paying for your members to get like Omega 2s and stuff through ISK eventually.
can I also just quickly add in as a complete tangential side note here? I have dreamed of hearing Gregor Eisenhorn say multiplicatively so beautifully as that was.
He makes me sound like proper common trash, that's all I know. It's like,
That's not true at all.
You're very, very well spoken, and there's me just like, yeah, mate, I was kicking the old chimney down the road, and then this geezer came along, and you're like, oh yes, the King and Queen of England came to my house for a spot of tea.
I mean, I can go regional if you'd really like, Self.
No, don't go regional. Don't go regional. There's only one allowed here, okay? I need to be special. Just keep your poshness.
Okay. Bringing us slightly back on point.
Yeah.
14 character limit for a corp name.
Ugh. Don't even get me started. I did a competition for the community corp name, for my community corp name. And we went through the full stages. The person won. They got their title in the Discord and blah, blah, blah. And they got their prizes. And then it doesn't fit. So,
Yeah.
now
So, for example, Trimark Heavy Industries is now Trimark. We don't really have what are you going to do? You're going to call it Trimark in-game and then call it Trimark Heavy Industries everywhere else, and everyone's just going to get confused. So, had to shorten it.
Like Trimark, but Trimark still sounds okay. Like my corp name was Sovereign States. How the hell can I make that smaller?
Just changes to Sovereign Says.
Yeah, but if it's like Sovereign Says, what? Like
how about Sov Incorporated, like Sov Inc. Dot?
we could have Sov States, Sov Incorporate, but I really like that my community got involved in it together. They voted on the name, and they just decided to fuck us basically. Like it pissed me off. I argued with him. I argued with all of the devs for about 45 minutes, saying you're taking a piss.
Just to be clear, we know why it happened, right?
Yes.
It's the translation between Chinese and English in programming.
Yes, and also, the reason why is because it doesn't fit within the UI because of the way that it's translated in-game through coding or some shit. I don't know anything about it, honestly.
It's quite common with a lot of Chinese or rather pictorial language-based mobile games. Having recently played a lot of Kart Rider Rush Plus as well, there's the name's shorter on there. When I used to play Durango, you only get like 12 characters to work with. It's bloody annoying when Captain Benzie comes in at like 15 characters, I think.
But I don't understand.
Catskull Cartel is exactly 14.
But it's unfair in my eyes, mainly because you can literally. So if the Chinese corps will have 7 characters limit, but that could be a book in Chinese because one single like pictogram or whatever you want to call it is a sentence. So it's like it's not quite. I'm being over exaggerative. I'm being a dick, but like it's my
point.
point.
Do a whole word in one symbol.
Yeah. So like a whole word for me, sovereign, for example, would be 1 character in Chinese, but it will be what 8, 9 in English.
You should look this up. I believe, if I recall correctly, you can actually say sovereign states in one single character, purely because you can
Are
have
you trying to piss me off?
sovereign on one half of it and states on the other half.
Are you
the
trying to
actual
piss me
kanji
off?
can be constructed with that.
I'm just
Because
not happy.
it's an object, a state, as abstract as that is, and
Yeah.
then a qualifier around it, which does work in one symbol.
So I'm gonna ask the devs if I can name my corp in Chinese on the global server.
Oh
No,
God, no.
Sov, I think you should take this opportunity to rebrand and become HRM Sov and just really push for that, king of New Eden. His Royal Majesty Sovereign.
The sovereign, the one and only, the king of the high seas. I can't do it. Like, I can't. I'm just a commoner, man.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
I can't do it.
Well,
Blurry
we can
out
pray for a
focus
change.
sovereign.
I have asked and I have spoken to them, and they said they understand where the issue will be for us, and they will try to do something about it. But this isn't something that they will fix anytime soon.
And by the time the game starts, it'll be too late.
It'll be too late because everyone will name their corpse.
I assume that we're not going to be able to change corp names.
I don't know, because I've heard rumor that there will be name changes.
What, like player name
Like-
changes?
Microtransactions, probably.
Heard rumor. Don't know 100%. Like, this isn't something that a dev has told me. This is something that a fellow moderator has mentioned to me. Like, they don't know for sure, but it was like a conversation that was had, and name changes was part of it was in one of the Q&As or one of the AMAs, sorry, with the devs, where they pointed towards it. I wasn't there at the time. I wasn't there for that AMA, and they showed me what it was, but the translation might have been wrong. Maybe.
It's like names not being able to be changed is one of the foundations of EVE Online that we all rely on.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, people that you really like? I mean, there's some assholes already in this Echoes community that if they're able to change their names, they're just going to be assholes forever.
Well, the thing about demand. If there's demand, they'll probably squeeze in a feature. And I'm guessing it's going to be in the cosmetics part of the shop. $1, $5,
Yeah.
change your name, change your everything, new passport. You go blasting.
Although we know that Echoes has an ID, a character ID with it. It's just a number. And if, as a person, you can look at the bio of someone and see that ID, then you'll know it's that person. So yeah, there's ways around it. I'm not too fussed over that. We can still do that.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
one of
that's
those
off topic.
things. Personally, I'm all for having a name change function, even for player names. I think it's useful for someone like me and Sovereign if we occasionally go through a rebrand, or it's a nice thing to have there as an option. I do 100% believe that it should always be your first one is free. Anything after that you pay, and that is an exponential cost.
That could
I
work
agree.
with an exponential cost if they do have it. So the more that, like, what game is it where every time you respec, it used to be WoW, right? Where every time you respec, it used to go up in gold amounts, like towards the classic times.
Yeah, that changed in Burning Crusade.
Yeah, that changed a long ass time ago, because that was pretty hardcore, man. Like, especially since, like, if you were locked to one way, you were locked in that style of play, which is pretty rough. But name changes, I don't think they should ever be there. Ever.
If they were to open the game and have the 14 character limit, and then later on, under pressure, change it, I would hope they would give every corp an opportunity to be able to change their name for free.
Of course, because
100%.
there will be a lot of pressure once people start realizing, because a lot of people don't know this stuff. You might. There's only a few of us within this community, that actually talk to each other and talk amongst each other. Each of your corps are probably 80% dormant right now. Everyone, the Discord, the EVE Echoes official Discord is probably closer to 90% dormant. Once people start logging in the game and realize they can't have their corp names that they want because there's a character limit, that's going to fucking kick up a stink. Because people hate that non-freedom of speech shit. Like, I don't understand it personally. I don't care about freedom of speech personally. It doesn't affect me. I don't walk around on the streets having to scream whatever the hell I want. But it's like, if you limit someone's name, I mean, 20 characters is fine. I understand that you shouldn't have 20 characters on a player name because I don't want like Rumpelstiltskin's brothers, sisters, uncles, dogs owner as a single name. Like it's just going to be shit on a UI that small. But it
doesn't have to be. You just cut it off.
But they said that they couldn't cut it off. That was what was part of the conversation, which I didn't understand how they couldn't cut it off. And they didn't want to do scrolling. Supposedly scrolling was limited as well.
I'm a developer. Scrolling is horrendous.
Because there's games that I've played where they have really long corp names where it scrolls until the end and then stops at the end of the name.
You mean a scroll or a marquee?
I didn't know there was a difference.
Scroll is where you, the player, click up and down like you would on a web page. Marquee is like where the text just keeps going, like one of those LED lights you see at the train station.
Well, that confuses me because this what I have on the stream right now, where the special guests and stuff are scrolling past, that it's called scroll.
But it's actually a marquee.
It's a marquee. Why is it called a scroll in OBS? Sons of bitches. See, that's just confusing my brain. Thank you for the follow, Ice Phalanx. Sorry, is that supposed to be phalanx or phalanx? Oh, lost in that one. I have dad brain right now. I haven't slept properly in 2 days. I've been up every 3 hours of the day to cart the missus in her wheelchair to the baby to feed him because he's stuck in a whole nother side of the hospital. So I'm like running on fumes here.
So the question is,
any pictures of Mini Blurry Sovereign?
Mini Blurry Sovereign, like he's like, I don't know. I would have posted a picture of him, but the missus is very uncomfortable with posting his picture on the internet, which is fair enough.
That's very reasonable.
Very reasonable for her. It's our child, obviously, and if she says no, then
oh yes,
she says no.
So we've got a bunch of corporations.
Yep.
They're all out in nullsec, and they're all interacting with each other on a daily basis.
Yep.
How do we tell friend from foe?
There is a thing called standings, which you have multiple of, which in even line you have multiple of. In Echoes there was 3: neutral, red, and blue. In the beta?
Yeah, only 3.
There wasn't light blue, dark blue, orange, and red, right? I didn't
have like 5 in Evil Line.
When Trimark said, right, let's blue everyone, I went to another part of space because that was 500 fucking blue names. I weren't doing that shit. I moved way the fuck away. Like that was a nightmare to do.
The initial bluing was hard work. Keeping up with it was fine, but to begin with, yes, that was fun.
That was like
the other issue we had was we got to a point where people were saying, "Cool, I've done 500 people. I can't do anymore. It won't let me."
I don't know.
I was hit the cap.
I was in the other corner, in the red corner. I was flying around, finding miners and whatever people in nullsec and just marking them red so I can remember and chase them afterwards.
I mean, like,
but that's the other side of the coin. Is that when you get to the point where you've marked 500 blues, you can't even mark a red because you've hit 500 blues. You've got 500 total.
Yeah, you have 500 total, which is another issue because, well, now we know that you can blue entire corpse.
Yeah, how is that going to come into play?
Well, that actually costs more than an alliance to blue another corp. So there'll be a monthly ISK cost, and it will be what the exact words were. It'll be way more expensive to blue a corp than to make them your alliance.
Oh, this is actually actual information.
Actual information. The blue standings of corp to corp will be 100 times. Like it'll be so much more expensive. I mean, I don't know how everyone feels about this. That for me, that is a weird thing.
No, it's actually pretty interesting. They are saying to us like, give them some knives and they're gonna kill each other.
Yeah,
no need to blue everybody.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, they're basically saying that they don't want any formed communities to be able to interact with each other, and that everyone could potentially mistake each other and kill each other, or everyone is going to live in a constant state of fear of being blown up and not know where it came from and why.
It's true. That is very true. How do you feel about that one?
We wouldn't be in nullsec. We'd
Oh.
just stay in high sec where it's safe.
I said caramellos away.
What's this
It's
bit? I'm not.
it's one of those things
overly
that our
understanding.
community is too big.
Yeah, that's true. Oh,
So Benty, go ahead.
Yeah, so this means this is actually in conflict with what we managed to ascertain in the previous part, as in having multiple corporations each split with their individual purpose, not being able to blue one another could turn into disasters.
That could be a right.
Somebody's mining. Pew pew pew.
Gratitude.
Oops.
Gratitude dispensed.
is that Skippy? The Skippy, did you just sub, my friend? Thank you very much. Thank you.
With
What we
fear of
can
outing
do-
myself
I'll go into-
as a cretin.
With fear of wait, like, I want to hear this. Benzi just said he's going to out himself as a cretin. Let's go for it.
I'm not as someone who hasn't done overly that much on EVE Online in quite a long time. What am I missing here? What is this actually happening? This standing thing.
So you want to know what the blue standings are?
I can give you a quick one.
Yeah, go for it, Sam. Go for it.
When you jump into local and you see the list of people in local, you see everyone's name and you see a color beside their names. Whether it is red, gray, or blue tells you what the hell you're going to do now that you've jumped in. Are you going to cloak up and run, or are you going to say, cool, everyone's fine? Basically, you're able to tell at an instant everyone around you is either friend or foe based on the standings that you have set to or have automatically been given by an alliance or corporation.
Okay, and in Echo, that's how I understood it. And in Echoes,
Yeah.
Exactly.
as in what we're not getting these standings.
In Echoes, we did not have a standings color in local. We did have a standings color on the overview when someone landed on grid. That's as far as we could go.
Oh, and then you couldn't even differentiate or change the overview to allow you to take blues off of the overview. So if you're flying with 400,
That changed.
It changed a little, but it still didn't work for everyone. I still had all blues on there.
I get you now.
I still had all blues through the entire beta. They said they fixed it, but I had blues the entire beta. I couldn't turn that shit off.
Yeah.
So it's
But
like,
we expect things like that to improve. Like that's game mechanics that they want to make happen properly. That's fine. What they want to do is they want to limit our ability to actually set that stuff up on a grand scale.
Nina, like, we all know you're just an evil pixel. Don't even start, all right? Everyone knows that you didn't even need reds because you just fucking killed everyone. We know that, all right? If you got a strategic non-alliance to make, the cost is probably nearly irrelevant. Irrelevant. I can't even speak English. Irrelevant. I'm losing
So
my
one
mind,
of
man.
the easiest ways that we're going to look at this is Trimark is going to have a ticker in their name. Basically, you're going to look at someone and it's going to say TM, and you're going to see they're from Trimark. Basically, that's the idea. And you can quickly scan down the list. Hopefully the tickers are beside the names in local, and you can basically use the ticker symbol as your visual of who and where they're from and tell you, and then we can have a list of corporations and their standings to us in a spreadsheet and have people check a short list instead of a monster list.
I just hate lists.
I agree. It's a real pain in the ass to actually have people to have to force them to check them so that they know what's going on. And more often than not, people make a mistake when trying to check them. It's just a real asshole thing. But you can't avoid it if you're going to have a system like we.
It's true that you can't avoid it, but like the problems that we had is when we were fighting against 1K spreadsheet. Skippy, oh god, please no more 1K plus spreadsheet to check standard, Sam. That was like that system could cause problems later on down the line when you're running around in your space and you run into a fleet of 20 people and you have to check if they're okay or not. So hopefully they fix standings. They said they were working on it. So there will be changes to the standings on launch. What will change? I don't know.
Okay, so speaking
one
of, yeah, sorry.
No, yeah, you carry on, Chicaforte.
I don't know exactly what they'll be doing on this, but I definitely hope that they'll improve. Otherwise, it's going to be a major pain in the bum. So,
Yeah, I was just
And a
going to
lot
add
of the
that
big players will quit.
it's one of those quality of life pieces that in the long term players absolutely must have that ability to get the segregation, and then the subtle like 5 would be much better than the 3 to give that gradation of relationship in what is ultimately a very complex game with the political machinations and the day-to-day. Like you have to have that granularity, and it has to be visually very easy, otherwise it's going to be a lot of hard work.
I get really turned on by Eisenhorn's wording. He's very, very graphic.
speaking
Lovely.
about lists and checkboxes, I got something for you. We all know how intricate and how complex the roles and management of corporations is, and how easy it can be. It's like being an IT guy and having to set up the domain controller for the corporate domain, working the Active Directory. You can end up giving God knows what roles to God knows what kind of people. How complex is that going to be in ECHOESTALK? And that's a question for you, Sovereign. Maybe you have some info for us, because I'm definitely keen on learning some of this.
Can you ask the question? Because I was understanding the point, but I didn't hear the question.
So, do we know if the corporation management, as in roles and all that?
Oh, okay. So right. So the corporation manager, as in like making someone, for instance, a recruiter, and someone a diplomacy officer, and someone blah blah blah. Okay, there is that in the game. It's a very, very rudimentary version. Think of it as the Stone Age wheel to today's car wheel. It's very simple at this moment in time.
Okay.
But
So,
while you can set them the roles, will there be mechanics that can back up hard code what they can and can't do?
Yes. So each role has a tick and cross box for everything. So I said it's much better. It has the same functionality. It comes across as so simple. So it's like it's like setting up Discord roles. That's the best way I can say it is.
oh, that's awesome.
Tick on, tick off on different boxes. Tick on, tick off, tick on, tick off.
That's way better.
Okay, that's good. I hope.
Otherwise, you might just end up with, "Hi, how are you? Here's your role. Oh my God, where's my Corp hanger?"
Yeah, no, that's the way that I've seen it is tick off, tick off, tick on, tick off, and it has things like Corp hangers, but weirdly it didn't have Corp hanger 1, Corp hanger 2, Corp hanger 3, Corp hanger 4. It just had Corp hanger. So I don't think there's going to be functionality for you to separate Corp hangers for like mining ships for scrubs, for example.
I've had people in the past ask me what makes EVE Online different to other like online MMO games. And one of the key examples I give is that if you fuck up and give someone your entire Corp hanger, in other games, the devs will return that to you.
Wait, what?
Oh, I love it.
I need to get my head around that.
If you're in something like World of Warcraft and someone comes along and opens up your guild auction house bank thing and just loots all of it because you were stupid enough to give them the full officer privilege,
You'll get it all back, and they'll get banned as well now.
UGM, and you contact the GM and they'll come in and sort that shit for you. In EVE Echoes, you've got some guy sitting in Iceland laughing his arse off at you.
You can even if you can prove some sort of ownership to a guild in World of Warcraft, you can actually get the GMs to change the leader of a corp from one to another. Like, say you can't be screwed over. Say, for instance, you accidentally change a thing and it makes someone else the corp leader of the corp. If you do that in EVE Online, you fucked, mate.
Well, that was
We're still
intentionally
unless
online.
weaklings.
Yeah. I mean, I do know someone personally who spent 8 years in a corp to steal all their shit. He
It
joined.
just makes
the
me love
corp.
Eve.
He joined the corp 8 years ago to rob
But
them.
it's been done plenty of times.
It's like, but this guy became an FC. He moved up into officer's role. He became the co-CEO of this giant corporation, and then stole trillions of ISK.
I mean, I don't want to play my cards on the table too quickly, but like that's way too much work for the likes of me. That's not my game.
I've seen you play and put
Noted.
numbers for days together. Yeah, don't tell me that you can't do that sort of shit.
This
Yeah,
is
no,
like
I love numbers, but it's not like I love numbers. Like spreadsheets make me happy, let's say. But that's a level of work and effort. I'm too lazy, Sov. Too lazy.
that's like telling a joke for 8 years, and after 8 years you get to the punchline, and then you're just the only one laughing.
In other words, you're an accountant, not a politician.
Oh god, there's just like,
yeah, I mean, cross an accountant with a minor, and you've got me pegged, Benzie.
So we actually have only got a couple of minutes left, 7 minutes left on this stream, because I do have to get back to the hospital to spend some more time with the missus and my son. So if we have any questions from the chat for any of our special guests, be it Sandbridge, Benzie, Eisenhorn, or I don't want to, Gisha Forza?
Dzika Forza.
Dzika Forza. Oh,
In Romanian, it actually has a meaning. It's like the force of Dzika, but
who is Dzika?
Dzika is short for George. I'm George. Hello.
Oh, hi George. And then Skippy in the chat is Romanian. I don't even ask, man. Don't even ask. I'm running on Red Bull and Dreams right now. Rough cost on making an alliance. Rough cost on making the alliance, we have no idea. I know that there is no flat fee to make an alliance. So it's not going to be like the 200 million to make a corp. There won't be a flat fee, but there will be monthly fees with the alliance. That's all I know so far. Don't have a specific price on it. I've been told it's
Everything
a lot.
to do with making alliances and corporation costs and everything, that's all just a money sinker risk to the game developers, isn't it?
Yes,
There's no actual level of kickback that we can actually use to fund ourselves.
Booker, the meta at launch, I'll put a couple of months' wages on the meta at launch being guardianship bubbles. That's all it's gonna be.
Gramiels.
Like guardianships on either side with bubbles and whoever does the most damage. And then the hard counter to that would be drones of any kind, because drones can get inside of the shield, so you just kill whatever you need to kill. So people will have guardianships and drones. That's just basically meta. That will be the meta. Because I do know for a fact now that there is no range on locking targets. If they're on grid, you can lock them.
Interesting.
200 mil per corp is doable on day one. It's a matter of how much ISK do we get out of the tutorials? How much ISK does everyone get given at the start of the game? How many characters can people start up that they don't need that ISK? They could just fund it all into the corp. Will all of that stuff be able to come together and able to get someone to say, yep, I have 200 mil, I'll make a corp? It's not really needed though. It's not like what people want. They're not going to want to give away that money. It's going to need to be used as skills and as infrastructure to start everyone's processes.
It's yeah, but I know for me, for damn sure, the first thing that I'm gonna really do is farm up the 200 mil. Well, I'm gonna get Nina to farm up the 200 mil, and she's gonna give it to me because Nina is a fucking animal when it comes to making money. So I'm going to ask her nicely. What? Why are you saying oi for? That's the reason you're with me. Like
What I've got.
You've just earned there. So is when you say give it to you, she's probably just going to blow you up instead of giving.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
to you
yeah.
She
straight
just
away.
placed a bullseye on her back.
no, but she already knows that the first day we're gonna get into the game, I'm gonna kill her. Like that's it. I'm gonna be the first person to kill Nina. The first person.
What Trimark are going to do
Yeah.
is we're basically going to put a cost on entry to Corp. After 2 weeks, you're going to be said, right, you've had 2 weeks in game. I want 4 million ISK. You can be in Corp that turn. Every other turn, 4 million ISK. And we're just going to keep that rolling so that we can have as many Corps as you want, but every turn is going to have that cost to get into Corp. And it's not going to be saved or minus from positive. So like if someone wants to bring on all the PR alts and they've got the money, they can do it.
Okay.
If someone doesn't want to come in at all because they don't have the money, well, we're going to have to talk to them and figure it out. But realistically, we're going to need that money because the Corp can't function without a bit of capital, and it's going to be wiped away if we have to spend all of that capital on just the Corp itself.
That is true, but taxes, man. You get the taxes starting at the beginning, you're all good. I want to know if they're going to actually have it in mining and stuff, because if they only tax the ratas again, it's just going to be shit.
I've got to go. Sorry, I've just been called.
Cool, no worries, Sam. Thank you very much for coming, sir. I appreciate it. Spam the Discord for Trimark in the chat.
Will do. Thank you. See ya.
No worries, take it easy. That's Sam's still at work right now, being on the future, so he's on call for work. So let's answer a few of these questions. Not for me, haulers are going straight. Any ideas if exploration will be a profitable focus? No idea. All we'll have at the beginning, we will actually have exploration, but they'll only have some relic sites to go for, is all they said, which will probably be a non-ratted Inquisitor site, I would say. That's all they're going to be doing for now. Reverse engineering, we do know how that will work, Alaric. Basically, what's going to happen is you will pick up wrecks, like debris, ship debris from killing rats, and those rats will drop. You put those into reverse engineering. Once they're reverse engineering, it will give you a chance for certain kinds of BPCs to be turned from the actual debris. So you'll have a chance to get a ship for that faction, a weapons BPC for that, a module, etc., etc. There'll be smaller chances for the faction ships, but that will be the only way to get faction ships in EVE Echoes, will be to break down debris.
One of the interesting points on that, Sov, I think, is that reverse engineering is one of the only skill sets that's broken down by faction. So whereas, in EVE Online, you've got you're going to skill for Galente frigates, or you're going to skill for Minmatar frigates.
Mm-hmm.
In Echoes, it's just frigates.
No one's gonna skill Minmatar frigates because they're shit.
I did.
played for and got. But the reverse engineering is by faction. So looking at because we're on a big skill bottleneck at the beginning of the game. Reverse engineering is definitely one of the more hungry jobs in terms of your initial time. So reverse engineering I think is not going to be something that has a lot of uptake immediately, simply because if you do it, you're only going to be able to focus without completely hitting that character's skill base.
Yeah.
On one of them at a time.
I feel that I feel that reverse engineering can be a job by itself in EVE Echoes, same as ratting, same as in industry. Selling BPCs from killing and breaking down wrecks will be a major source of income, I feel, because it's the only way you're going to get faction modules
But
and
not
faction
for
ships.
Alpha.
It has to be. It has
Not
to
for
be,
alphas.
otherwise it's not worth it.
It won't be for alphas because they can't fucking do it. But well, alphas, you can rat and do missions. That's all you can do. Can you still reprocess debris? Yes, you can. So you have the choice between reprocessing them for parts to make rigs, or you have the choice of breaking them down in reverse engineering to get the BPCs. So you decide which one you want to go for. We'll have 5 more minutes for questions, then I do have to run. I've got to go kiss my older son goodnight before I piss off back to the hospital for another 2 days. So if there's any other questions regarding anything to any of our special guests or myself, please let me know. How do you guys feel about the fact that ratting being the only viable source?
Well, we
For
don't
an
know
alpha
what
pilot.
hauling's going to look like yet.
Hauling, if they don't fix it, it's going to be fucking massive. If they do fix it in some way, it's going to be dog shit, probably.
I was also asked by a guy in my community yesterday, I think, and I had to kind of say, look, I don't know. Do we know if it's just selling it on the market that's blocked, or can you still fulfill orders? Can you still do stuff in corporations?
You can't do anything as of right now. You can buy from the market. So we got a question from Hugasa. What's your corp gonna do, Sov? We're gonna be doing a little bit of everything. Think of my corp as a community entry point. If you wish to go to a more specialized corp after that, my corp will help you start to get the idea of what you want to do within the game, and then you can stay with us to help other people, or you can move on to a more specialized corp. That's basically what I'm trying to do with my corp. I don't think that I'm not going to be a nullsec powerhouse. It's just that's not what I want to do personally. But it's a stepping stone for people to be able to learn the game. That's what I'm all about. That's why I'm doing a lot of the stuff that I do. We have a question from Lyrek. Will there be BPOs? There will not be BPOs. Everything will be BPCs. So you can only have a one at a time.
So, Ren, to answer your previous question,
yes,
I had to sit on it a bit and think, actually, being an alpha and doing only ratting could be the key into going Omega with in-game bot Plex. And that, I'm guessing it's going to be the major path, like the yellow brick road for almost every player that wants to go there. Because you just hop onto an Algus trainer with drones and you go and do level 9 sites in NoSec and you're set. In a few days, you're set.
Sure.
I still think, and I remember the point from last week or a week ago about, if you're able to do it on an alpha, then you're able to do it an infinite amount of times. I think you can still put some roadblocks in there to make that so challenging that people just aren't going to bother doing it a million times. Like with regards to manufacturing, like I'd be a strong proponent of allowing an alpha clone to have one manufacturing slot. Like they can't go advanced skills, so they're not going to be efficient at it.
Mm-hmm.
Things that they would be able to make, like ventures, produce so quickly that no one's ever going to produce that many ships that quickly. To like the inputting would be a nightmare. But it would give an alpha clone the taste of what that looks like. Sure. And that's where you're going to hook people into, oh, I want to do a lot more of this. Now I'll get my Omega.
I think that what they're doing is a good thing because it will allow us to control a large majority of industry by blocking it. It won't saturate the shit out of the market. So I feel that it's a good thing, but I do understand why people aren't happy with it. Yes, Booker, the ship debris still drops as loot, and the salvaging modules are a thing. They were in beta as well. I'm drawn between you and Benzi. I might make you duel for my services. You guys is like, make me and Benzi duel. Well, he better not be in the shitty Saber because he'll just get fucked out the sky.
We'll see, boy. The trouble is that I'm going to have difficulty locking. But just to jump back quickly to what was being said there about like industry and all that as well being locked in alpha. Okay, so obviously I do a lot of stuff on mobile gaming. I've got a community that's built purely around mobile gaming. A lot of people obviously are on that free-to-play spectrum. You get one end that is militant free-to-play, and a game is fucking awful if you can't do everything that you can do when you pay completely free. Now, obviously, I don't take that stance. I think that if you flat out refuse to play for the game, you should have access to all content. 100% you should have access to all content, but just at a reduced level. I.e., in this case with ECHOESTALK, if you want to go free to play and it takes you 2 or 3 months to grind enough ISK to get your first Plex, well, yeah, that's kind of what it's going to be. I get as well exactly what you're saying, that it would be great to give people a small taste of these things. But I do also think by locking them away, it suggests that marketeering and industry are kind of more advanced skills. And I really get the feeling that the game is going not for a free-to-play, but a paid subscription with the possibility of playing for free.
Copy that. Right, so does everyone wish to post and spam their YouTubes into chat like George has? I want to call him George, so everyone should be able to do that now. Sam, if you want to put your Discord for Trimark, Trimark Heavy Industries is a corp that will be mainly working on the industrial side. There'll be an industrial nullsec powerhouse. So if you like the idea of being an industrial toon, they will have other things obviously going on with PvP, etc., but they are industry heavy. You have Captain Benzi, who's a fellow content creator. He'll be doing a lot of the big explanations, going really deep into the ideas behind different ships, etc. And we have George. Your name's just going to be George forever. George, for example, George hasn't actually introduced himself as a content creator on this stream before. So if you would like to introduce yourself as a content creator, what you do, what your dreams and aspirations are. Do you like walks on the beach? Do you like holding hands?
No, but I like blowing stuff up. I've been a EVE Online player since 2005. Had to quit around 2016 because I had to abandon PC gaming. Picked up mobile gaming. Started a YouTube channel. Been doing that ever since, mostly in card games. So I was very thrilled once I heard the EVE is going to mobile, and I was like, I gotta have that.
When I saw it, I was like, I was playing EVE Online at the time, and I was like, this is fun. Going back into a wormhole, I just set up my own little like Fortizar, a one-person man corp in a wormhole, and then like I heard EVE Echoes, then I just literally left my Fortizar to get blown up. I didn't even log back in. It was just I just jumped into the beta and forgot that EVE Online existed. So it was like,
that is going to be a big part of nullsec life, being that you just come back into the game and all your assets are gone.
I love it. But
there's no asset safety.
Best part of EVE Echoes is the fact there's no fucking asset safety. That is, for me, the most beautiful thing. Bring back loot pinatas for fucking life. I know I'm a bit of an elitist PvP scumbag, but
I wonder if we're going to have freighters and how long it's going to be till we get like jump freighters and stuff.
Capitals won't be in for a long time, but the first set of capitals will be freighters. I know that.
But when will they introduce?
Sorry?
When will they introduce the corpses being lootable?
Corpses should be there from day one. Corpses should be in there from day one, so you'll be able to start collecting them, which is going to be shit. So I'm just going to, like the biggest dickheads in EVE Echoes, I'm just going to give them my corpse and just so they don't like camp me or whatever, because that's what people like to do.
Just going to get out of the way immediately, are yourself?
No, I'm just going to give it. I'll give the first one to Nina. Nina can have the first kill on me. Oh, Swede is talking about killing me already. Are they boosting freighter cargo holds? There's no freighters. Oh, freighter cargo holds. I'm not sure. I don't. They changed up hauling, so I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. Cute implying you need to give me your first kill. By the way, yeah. Nina, like, I have to save face somehow. I can't get blown up by you on the first day, and so let's just trade kills on the first day so we can be each other's first kill. We can like make a real moment within EVE Echoes together, pixel on pixel.
The best friends are the silent ones in your cargo hold.
What? Okay. That sounds a little bit killery.
So that's how we end this stream, ladies and gentlemen, on death. That was weird as hell. But I actually have to go now,
Sawyer
guys.
In the house.
I do want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you, special guest Sam Brigg, Captain Benzi, Eisenhorn, George, and myself for being here on this lovely occasion. Have a lovely evening, guys. Say goodbye to everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Goodbye.
Cheers, guys, and congrats, Sov.
Thank you.
Happy
My life is
sailing.
over.
Congratulations, Sov.
Thank you.
Do we have a subject for next week?
Yes, next week's subject will be industry.
Sweet.
I am pushing for all the information I can on industry because we have fuck all information on it. So I'm going to get as much as I can, and we're going to go for some Echoes firsts on tomorrow's industry talk.
Heart eyes all the way.
Yep.
Cool. Right, guys, I'll catch you all later. Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow everyone, all of the special guests with their YouTubes. Check out the Discords. And if you would like to support the channel, there are multiple ways you can subscribe, or you can go on to the Patreon. Links will be down, obviously, in the Twitch description. And if you're watching this from YouTube, all links and everything will be put for each individual content creator, and the Discord links for Trimark Heavy Industries will be in the description below. Thank you again, Benzie. Thank you, Eisenhorn. Thank you, Sandbridge. And thank you, George. I'm never pronouncing his name right. Have a lovely evening. Fly safe.